Chris, I guess, I mean, they're a good team that you probably can't waste opportunities against. And do you feel like that was the difference in the end?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons we lost, because we were inaccurate in front of goals. And when we had momentum, we didn't hit the scoreboard as much as we should have. The first quarter, the margin should have been even greater than it was, to be honest. So, to a degree, we let them off the hook, but I wouldn't completely just blame it on accuracy. I know the shots on goal differential is quite sizable and would indicate that perhaps we should have won and we had more inside 50s and all that. But I think after quarter time, their ferocity in the hunt and their ferocity to put pressure on us was way better than ours, and that's the reason why they won in the end. We weren't able to match that, and that's unusual for us, because I can't fault our blokes for a long time now in that regard. But today, particularly in the second half of the game, their hunger to win the ball and to put pressure on us when they didn't have the ball was better than ours.
Is it just too easy to say that you've been up for such a long time and you ran out of steam, or is that letting the players off?
It's a hard one, isn't it? Because as a coach, in this competition, it's very, very hard to win the number of games in a row that we have. But we're all about the current contest, and we've got to now bounce back, and we haven't had to bounce back for a while. We've been, getting confidence from wins, and when we were 2-5 at the start of the year, we didn't have much margin for error, and we've been able to be mentally strong enough to get to this point in time. But today we failed to play for long enough in the way that we wanted to.
They seem to get you talked about the ferocity of the contest. They were getting a few of those goals in the last quarter from centre bounce clearances, and I guess is that frustrating, or?
Yeah, it is. But our midfield group have been unbelievable for the last 10 weeks or however many it is, and today they lowered their colours. We were dominant in centre bounces in the first quarter and got a lot of looks, and then the wheel turned on that, and suddenly they kicked the first 3 goals of the second quarter. I think most of those came out of centre bounce clearance. So, as I say, it's hard to be critical of my midfielders. They got beaten today. They'll be the first to admit it. They've already talked to me about it, and they'll be looking forward to bouncing back next week.
Will Ashcroft, was that, you feel, probably his best game since he come back from the knee injury?
Yeah, I think so. He's been sort of building a little bit every week, and he definitely was one who probably didn't play below his standard. He actually played better than he did last week and the weeks before that. So that's a good sign for us.
How do you think the defensive matchups went? There was a bit of ring-a-rosy with Harris and Dara and Jesse, and their forwards ended up kicking a few goals. But how did you see those matchups?
You'd have to say after quarter time, their forwards won those battles. They both kicked 3 goals and played a hand in a few others. So it's unusual for Harris. He usually does really well on his opponent, but today I think Hogan had the better of him, and Cadman had the better of Dara Joyce, even though both those lads tried their hardest as well. But just a little bit of class, a little bit of ball use that was a little bit hard to stop. Their forwards worked together well to get them out in space at times. So combination of those things.
I guess we don't know what's going to happen the rest of this round, but it puts you back on sudden death almost, or not sudden death, but kind of got to win your last 2 to give yourself a chance to
finish top 4.
Yeah.
Well, that's the reality of it. I'd like to think I'm going to win every week, but probably I'm not being realistic in this competition. It's so hard to stay up and play at a high level. So maybe this is just the little check that we needed to get us to bounce back up again for the final 2 weeks.
Fags, where do you rate the Giants in terms of flag contenders?
Well, I thought after we played them in round 7 that they were an outstanding unit, and I haven't changed my mind today. I think they're a decent chance. They're a very, very good team. And they toughed it out when we were right on top of that first quarter. They just hung in there and worked their way back into the game. So they demonstrated that last week. So they got some qualities about them that I'm sure their coach would be enjoying.
You think you expect Eric Pickwood to be available next week, or is that still up in the air?
I thought he was going to be available this week, so I'll probably have to say at this stage it's still up in the air. I'm hopeful, but he wasn't quite good enough on Thursday to select him, so we'll just have to wait and see. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.